And this is no longer something anyone can deny. So don't forget, that glowing cluster is a nucleus of a much, much larger cluster. That's a nucleus. And those 3 clusters on the bottom that it made, they act as temporary particle accelerators until it produces more tonight. And those can leave, and then 3 or 4 more can take their place. But no matter which ones are there, they're particle accelerators. They accelerate all the other particles that are not glowing and maximize their velocity or speed so that they can enter the large cluster, so that it can turn them into orbs like the ones you see there on the right hand side bottom. They're smaller orbs. Okay, so the big cluster, that's the nucleus, it turns those non-glowing orbs into the smaller glowing orbs that you see. And the way that's done is that the glowing orbs that are there now accelerate them into the large cluster, which eventually clones them out again into orbs like that. You can see there on the bottom, more clusters are forming. So when those smaller ones that are glowing leave, that sack of clusters below them, those are the ones that will take their place. There's always like a standby supply of clusters. So when those 3 smaller ones leave to make their own cluster formations in the sky or in the trees elsewhere, all those there that are below them that look like they're in a sack hanging off one of those beams right there, okay, they are there to take their place. They're always on standby mode. There's always more ready to take their place. So this process and this transformation never stops. It's 24/7, and that thing's been there for 6 weeks now, night and day, doing the same thing. Just making more clusters, and they're all hexahedrons. And you can see the amount of entities that are in the air now, because they're leaving the trees and the ground and going right up into our atmosphere. I'm going to show you what they become. Okay, I'm going to point this to the sky. Okay, all those clouds that you see are full of them. Let's see if I can see any. It's still too light out. There they are. All the clouds, the whole atmosphere. Everything you see is full of these things. Every single cloud. Okay, and look how big that cloud is. It's made out of them. That's what clouds are. All the other stuff we learned is nonsense. That's secondary. This is what the clouds are. Check it out. There's what the clouds are. Take a good look. Okay. There you are. I'll show you the real thing again. Okay, so look at all those entities right there on your screen flying all over the cluster, or all around the cluster, I mean. If I back up far enough, maybe you can see them. They're flying counterclockwise around that nucleus. I'll get closer. They're all going counterclockwise around that nucleus. And they're all a part of a much larger cluster. And the size cluster that they're part of is like that cloud up there in the sky. That's the size. It covers all of Toronto, one cloud. That's just that's not even a big cluster. The biggest one on Earth is the moon hologram, like I said before. That's the biggest cluster on Earth. Look how fast they're moving. And look how many there are. Look how many there are. Look how many there are. Look at all those trees. They're just emptying right out. They're all going up into the sky. And there's the sack. It's showing very well there below those smaller glowing clusters. There's 4 more down there, or 5. They'll be ready to replace those when they leave. So that's what's happening. There's just more and more of them being cloned or replicated, and they're making more themselves. And that's happening all over the Earth.